Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sue and Chapter Sue, a channel where we talk about important topics that we really need to talk about with our children, our families, our parents, and the society as a whole, right? So today's topic is the effect of shame on a child, right? And on my previous video, I did a bit of uh, Oedipus complex, what is it? A touch base on that, as well as marrying a narcissist, right? If Oedipus complex is not conducted properly, it brings in shame, right? If a child comes to you and say, "I want to marry my mom," type of story, if you bring shame to that and they grow up with that, they become a problem, right? Later on in life for someone else, right? As well as narcissist, right? For a child to become a narcissist, what is uh, the core main ingredients that brought up to be for an adult or a person to end up being called a narcissist or a very toxic person, right? Yeah. So shame and guilt. Some people seem to confuse the two. I'm just gonna go ahead and explain the two, right? And parents can see the big difference and how shame is rooted in everything on the growth of a child, right? Now guilt is focused on a behavior, right? They stole uh, 20 bucks, um they went to buy something with it, right? Now that behavior, that action, right, guilt will be based on a behavior of stealing, right? And the effect on that is remorse. Remorse um, and the desire to amend, right? To make things right, right? And then let's get to shame, right? Now, shame is focused on self, right? I stole this thing. Now I'm a bad person. I'm a bad person because I stole this. I'm a bad person because I uh, damaged somebody's bike, right? Now that brings down the self-esteem of a child, right? And the the self-rejection, self-hate, right? So that's the difference between guilt and shame. Shame is core rooted on what parents are doing. So a child comes home, it's got straight A's on a report, and there's one C, right? Parents will be focusing on a C instead of seeing those A's. That will bring shame that, okay, these parents don't see that I worked hard on these all the A's. They focus on this C, right? And then they'll be talking about how this child has done this, you are not studying, and it's very painful for that, right? For that focus that I worked hard for these A's. Why aren't they seeing this? Right? And also the discipline issue, right? Today a child comes in, spill the milk, right? Oh, because parents are in a good mood, we don't out for ice cream, right? And the next day the child spill milk. There's this screaming and yelling. That will bring shame to a child. The inconsistency of things. Today we're happy, tomorrow we're not, right? And we're not talking about it, right? But anyway, yeah, I've got Tim Fletcher who will explain more on the issue of how shame is brought about on children and what core is being used um, to bring that shame to children. Let's hear what he say. Thank you, Tim, for your videos. Please follow Tim, guys. He's really great on traumas. Let's hear what he says.
Some shame. The greater the complex trauma, the greater the shame but everybody with complex trauma has some shame. In other words, complex trauma affects your core belief about your identity, and it makes it a negative thing. So I want to develop that tonight and just kind of give you some groundwork to help you understand this concept so that you can begin to see the shame in yourself. So what I do when I teach this week at React is I say to the clients, think of times when you feel not good enough. Think of times when you feel not lovable, less than. How would you draw a picture of yourself at that moment in time? And so they'll start giving me their answers, but usually they go along the lines, I wouldn't be able to look people in the eye. I'd be looking at the floor. Some go back to a childhood memory when they didn't feel good enough, and they would want to curl up in a fetal position under their bed or in a closet because they just felt terrible about themselves. Others, I then say, what color is your drawing done in? And you realize that about 95% of the time, the people say it's black and white. There's no color in their shame drawing of themselves. And that to me is significant because it's almost to their mind that shame takes the color out of life. And it makes it a very dull color where you live in a black and white, pleasureless world when you have shame. Another characteristic of people with shame, and I will sometimes ask this, is are you able to look yourself in the eye when you look in the mirror? And many people with shame are not able to look at themselves in the eye when they look in the mirror. Some don't even look in a mirror because they can't stand to do that. Others, when they look in the mirror, never look at themselves in the eye. They either look at themselves from the nose down or from the eyebrows up, because that is what shame does. You don't like yourself because you feel you don't have value, you don't feel good enough, so therefore you don't like yourself. Okay, so now I take clients to this. Every child at a subconscious level comes into the world asking certain questions. Number one, who am I? What is my personality? What am I good at? And then, am I lovable? Do I have any value? Do people want to be with me? Do people like me? What do I have to offer that would make people interested in me? So they are asking those questions at a subconscious level. And then it's not just do people love me, but do they desire me? Do they, when they look at me, not just love me out of obligation, but do their eyes light up and they get excited about spending time with me? So what all of those express, those subconscious questions, are deep longings and desires built into every human being. I want to be desirable. I want to have value. I want to be lovable. I want somebody to want a relationship with me. All of those questions are asked at a subconscious level. So then I say, how do we get the answer to those questions? So I use a metaphor. If a child wants to know who they are externally, what they look like, they look in a mirror. So I say, use that metaphor. If a child wants to know who they are on the inside, their personality, if they have value, if they're lovable, there are mirrors that reflect back to them the answers to those questions. And those mirrors begin with mom and dad. So what mom and dad say to you, how they treat you, their attitude towards you, mirror back to you whether you have value and whether you're lovable. If you take that to a healthy home, a child growing up with healthy parents, what reflection do they get when they look at mom and dad? They get the constant, consistent message, you have great value. You don't have to do anything. You have value inherent within you. You are lovable, and we are committed to unconditional love to you. So a child growing up in that environment, they have a positive self-image. They feel good about themselves. They don't have thousands of insecurities because they know who they are. They know their place, their value, all of that. When you come to complex trauma, the mirror says a negative message. In a healthy home, positive messages come from the mirror. Complex trauma, negative messages. So I want to go through a list of things that mom and dad can do or say to you that mirror back to you messages about who you are. So, and many of you, this is going to start stirring up memories for you because many of these you will have experienced. Some of you have gone through, you shared your opinion with mom and dad and they laughed at you. In other words, you got the message, you're stupid. And that was reinforced in a whole bunch of different ways. Some you got eye rolling when you shared stuff. Sometimes people would just start walking away from you because it was like, you're dumb, I don't want to listen to that. And you internalize that message. Next, belittling. Some of you heard you'll never amount to anything. Some heard you'll never do anything right. You can't do anything right. You're a failure. You'll never be more than just a failure. And those were expressed to you on regular basis. Now, some of you say, well, mom and dad only said that when they were angry. They didn't say that when they were in a good mood. And what I say to clients is this: if you're really honest, what you're trying to say is that didn't impact me because I knew they were angry. But be honest with yourself. Did it impact you? Yes. Because sometimes when people are angry, you think they take away all their filters and they speak what they really believe. And so you believe what they say in anger. Another one, many of you grew up with them teasing you, calling you names. They might have had pet names that they thought were cute, but that hurt. So you might have been called chubby or pudgy. You might have been called four eyes, all of those different things. And they used it as a joke to tease you, but it just killed you inside. And it made you become very body conscious. All of those things you got, I'm not good enough. And then you might have got a mother or a father that no matter how well you did something, it never was quite good enough. They would find something wrong with it, something to criticize. If you came home with a fantastic report card, straight A's except for one B, they wouldn't congratulate you about the straight A's. They go, why did you get a B? And it was like the straight A's didn't mean anything to them. They focused on what you didn't do perfectly. And that sent a message to you. Some of your parents compared you. Why can't you be like your brother? Why can't you be like your cousin? And that sent a message that you're not good enough. Others, parents blamed you for their problems. We fight as a couple because you're a bad kid. I drink because you're a bad kid. And you were made to feel that it's my fault. My parents are struggling, or it's my fault they're getting a divorce. I must be really bad. And you internalize that. Some of you were not allowed to express certain emotions.
Well, there we are, parents. Just a note, Team Fletcher's video is quite long. I will put the video, the whole thing, on the description below for those who want to watch the whole thing. It's quite interesting. Yeah, let's just be consistent with our children. Let's communicate with them. Let's just love them. Just pure love without anything attached to it, right? And let's regularize our emotions first before we talk to our children so that we don't project whatever we're feeling to them, right? Especially when you're angry, you're from work, you had a bad day from wherever, and now you're coming home and your child is asking you something and then you're yelling at them, and they don't know what they did wrong, right? They internalize that. So let's just, yeah, let's just do better. But thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Till we meet again, sending you much love and light. Bye.